Hey guys, we're live. We're live with Claudine Reid, MBE, in London, talking about mental resilience. Now, guys, remember this: if you believe you have something to share, if you're passionate about what you do, make contact with me, because I think you need to be airing your podcast. You need to be airing your views today. So we're live now with Claudine Reid, MBE. But before we start talking, let's just play from a word from our sponsor.
You are listening to the Message Talk Show and Podcast. Do you believe you have something to share? Do you believe you have something to contribute? Do you have a story to tell the world, to share with your community? Gandhi said, man often becomes what he believes himself to be. If you think you can, you can. If you think you can't, you can't. So join us on the Message Talk Show and Podcast with host Alex Gordon.
Right, here we are. Claudine Reid, how you doing?
I'm doing very well, Alex. Thank you so much for inviting me onto your show.
Well, you know, I've been following your LinkedIn, man, and you've been posting heavily. You've been talking, you've been having a conversation. And I thought, wow, man, this lady is really pushing some stuff out. So I thought, let me make contact with her, you know? And
okay,
then,
well, thank you.
Yeah, I just love the stuff you were coming out with. So I thought, yes, it's for now. And especially since we're going through a lot at the moment with Corona.
Yes.
And people are responding to it. So today we're talking about building resilience, mental resilience. Now, resilience is the definition of resilience is about how people recover, how people come back from what's happened to them, how people brave through the situation. What would you say resilience is?
Alex, is similar to what you've said. It's about your ability to bounce back. It's about the strength, the mental strength that you have, the physical strength, the emotional, the psychological strength that you have. It's about your ability to navigate your way through any challenging circumstance. It doesn't mean that you don't have to struggle. It's more about what happens at the other end. It's more about how you come out of the other end. And what I found through the process of building resilience is the strength, that the personal strength, right? The mental strength, the emotional strength, the psychological strength.
Let me stop you there, Claudine, because, hey, you're in flow already, man. I can sense it coming through the mic. You're in flow already. But before we go down that route, Claudine, tell us who you are.
Okay, of course, right. I'm Claudine Reid. I am married to Patrick Reid, happily married for the last 25 years. I have two children. Our son is 22, our daughter's 20. And for the last 25 years of my life, I've been running a multi-award winning social enterprise called PJ's Community Services. We have a fabulous, amazing team of staff. We provide care services to different sections of the community, so children's homes, nursing homes, people who are in their own homes. I also run a number of training programs around personal development and leadership development, and several other hats that I wear. I've been a government advisor on international government boards. I am a leadership trainer and mentor with the John Maxwell team.
Wow, you're doing so much. Where do you find the time? Where do you find the time to fit so much in?
Do you know what, Alex? Everybody under the sun is equal in terms of our time allocation. And I think that because I have such an amazing team and an amazing support network, it allows me to do the things that I do. So not necessarily because I'm so great, but because I have a great team. And I think teams allow you to use your time wisely. I focus on what I'm good at, and my team focuses on what they are good at. So when I speak about having support teams, I had a support team when my children were much younger, in terms of making sure they have a safe environment, which would allow me to do the things that I want to do. When I think about when my business is concerned, my team, some of them have far more expertise than I do in particular areas. Let them shine. I think it's so important that if you're part of a team, everybody brings their own credibility, their own intellectual property into that team. What I've learned is that out of several good ideas come great ideas, but you can only get great ideas, I believe, if you're part of a team.
That's true.
So when you ask then, how do I find the time? I find the time because if you allow the people around you to shine, you shine at the appropriate time, that means you can use your time more wisely. That's worked for me anyway.
Wow. So what's the backstory then? What got you into to PJs, to the community services that you do for such a long time?
The backstory. You want me to go back 25 years, right?
Just give us a snippet of what got you there, you know?
The snippet of what got me there. So I was a student, right? I had, as part of my degree, I had to work for a year. So my friend found me a job because I was studying abroad. I was studying in Europe. Whilst I was away, I asked my friend to find me a job. He said, yes, go work for my brother. I ended up working for his brother. His brother said to me, oh my goodness, you're so good. I don't want you to leave. He proposed to me. I said, we got married.
What an amazing story.
I did not realize I was actually signing up to run a business for the rest of my life. But you know what? I joke about it. I was doing a business degree. Everything kind of fell into place, and I realized that as I got into the business, I realized that I could be me, right? I could grow not only my intellectual capacity, but I could also grow in character, growing my personal development, growing my leadership ability. And so running the business in terms of the backstory has allowed me to do that and evolve into a different person.
So you've really had to work on yourself then, because you're coming from the student into, learning learning about the business, then taking control of the business. Man, you must have really had to work on yourself.
And I don't have a problem with that, right? I don't believe in perfection. I believe in progress. And so working on ourselves, I think that's part of a success strategy. If you look in the mirror and you think, oh, my hair's not right, you're going to fix it, right? So why not look in the mirror and look at your character, look at your emotion, look at your leadership skill, look at your ability to lead people, look at your ability to respond in any type of environment and ask yourself those key questions. Am I equipped for this? If you're not equipped for this, then you can take collective action.
So why community service though? Why what is it about what PJs does that's really set you on fire?
Do you know what? It speaks to my heart. It's about serving people. So we, over the 25 years of being in the business, we've served probably every section of the community. We have provided educational services for young people. We've provided empowerment services for people who were out of employment, for lone parents, for older people, for ex-offenders. We currently provide services for a wider section of the community in terms of care, Alex. And I think this really speaks of the heart of the founding director, which is my husband, Patrick. It's about how can you best serve people? So the community services encompasses so much. What does the community need? And that's one of the ways how we've been able to navigate the space of growing a business. You look at the community and you see what do they need and what solutions are you able to bring to the need of the community. So when we say community, we're not only talking about the community that we live in, because we've got a significant amount of international community work. So we're going to where the need is, finding those people and being able to support them where they are with solutions that bring results. And that's why I think we've had the result rate, success rate that we have had, because it's the success isn't dependent on us as individuals. The success is dependent on the people who we serve. And I guess, success means different things to different people, but what the main focus for us is about helping those individuals achieve their goal. That goal could be, I just want to be able to have unity in my home. I want to be able to be a better person. I want to be able to care for my older relatives or for my children. Whatever that looks like, it's a community service. And that's what we focused on for the last 25 years.
So prior to the catastrophe that we're in now, you were already at the heart of the community, dealing with a wide spectrum of people, which is, as the base, who needed the support and help.
Yes.
Now the disaster's hit us. How are you seeing it affect the lives of the people that you've been dealing with for the past, many years?
Oh gosh, there's the fear and the trauma that we're probably experiencing as a community, as a city, as a country, as a continent, whatever level you want to look at. The level of trauma that we're having to experience now has been heightened. And so in terms of how we are dealing with this and in terms of what it means, I think that there's a level of compassion, right, that we have to navigate our way. But this is uncertain, unprecedented time. We've never been in a situation like this before. And so we're finding that we are learning as we go along. We're having to learn how to deal with emotions that we've not dealt with before. So, for example, of course, we've dealt with grief before, but it was very prescriptive. You can give an appropriate embrace. You could give an appropriate emotional response. If you think about our families, it's normal for some families to gather around and just share memories, especially where grief is concerned, in a family communal way. Now we're having to learn how to do that and take social distancing protocols in place. We've never had to do that before. No. It's not normal for our community. It's not normal for our culture. It's not normal as a country. And so we're having to navigate and provide support structures for our team, for our friends, for us as individuals, as how do we navigate this space.
But at the same time that we're navigating and giving support to others, it's also about protecting our own minds as well. Because
Absolutely.
At the end of the day, we need to come through this together. We need to see the light at the end of the tunnel. That's, that when we come through this, we'll be in one tact. But the challenge is, because we've never been this way before, we have never been able, people can't grieve, which is just unbelievable. Right now, people cannot grieve, and grieving is a process that helps people deal with situations. So we can't grieve, we can't attend the funerals that are happening. Yep, you're hearing it from left, right, and center. So how do we build that resilience in our mind that helps us to stay focused on something?
It's can I go back a minute before we get to COVID?
Go on.
Because I think when we talk about mental resilience, this is one of the things that helped me the most deal with this present situation. So in September last year, 2019, I was diagnosed with breast cancer. So from that time, I had surgery in December 2019. So I've kind of had 3 months to kind of build my mental resilience for a different reason. So I'm navigating health challenges. I'm trying to make sure that my mind is in the right place, my emotions are in the right place, as best you can, right? You're given this news of a life-altering disease that has the capacity to, do what it does, and I'm having to navigate, what do I want my life to look like? What do I want to how do I want to deal with this? And so when we speak about managing resilience and kind of navigating the situation that we are in, I think that I've had a lot of time to prepare myself for COVID because of cancer. So I put systems and structures in place that could protect me as an individual, that could protect my business, that could ensure that I had enough support. So by the time we get to March, where the issues around COVID, especially in the UK, become more to the surface, and now we're having to make radical changes in the way how we live, the way how we eat, the way how we shop, the way how we do business. I already feel that I had made some of those changes, not because of COVID, but because of the cancer diagnosis.
Wow.
So in March, thankfully, I had the opportunity to go on holiday, part of my recovery. And when we arrived back into the country on the 17th of March, within days, we were hearing that the country was going to be in lockdown. So really all I needed to do was help my staff move from the office to make sure that we had systems in place for them to work at home. But mentally, that's the thing that I want to focus. Mentally, I had already done all of that preparation in my mind back from September. So I almost felt prepared in my mind. So even though it's unprecedented, I'm not saying that I have all of the answers or the response for any of this situation, but I feel in my mind, and I think that if my mind is strong, if my emotions are balanced, if psychologically I've already thought this through, then it puts me in a better position holistically to prepare for whatever comes. I don't have all the answers, as I said, and we know, right, this is unprecedented. The nation has never seen anything, this generation has never seen anything like this in our lifetime. But what I do feel is important in order for us to navigate this is our ability to remain balanced. And I think I was preparing that from September for different reasons.
Yeah, for different reasons. That's true. So when you talk about the structures that you put in place, you put things in place that give you like some sort of routine. What kind of stuff are you talking about?
Yes, so structures for my business, structures for my home, structures for my finance, my own personal routine. So I'm a bit OCD. I apologize. I'm a bit OCD, I love routines, right? I'm generally at around 6:30 most mornings. I do a workout, then I come back, I practice my affirmations, I practice my visualizations. I believe heavily in the power of prayer. I'll write in my journal, I'll read something motivational, I'll read something that feeds my faith. And that really
slow down now. Those are some brilliant points that you're making there now. There's some brilliant points. And I'm sure there's some people out there who want to make a note of all these things that you've just rolled off your tongue. All right? Let's just go through them slowly. You wake up in the morning at 6:30 and you've got a workout routine. Yeah.
Yes, so I go and meet my 6 o'clock. I meet my personal trainer 3 mornings a week. We're in a fabulous group. We motivate each other from a physiological exercise perspective. So he's our personal trainer. He has a fabulous routine that pushes us as individuals to our respective limits.
Right. Okay. And why the workout? Why do you think the physical workout has so much to offer you?
For me personally, it gets the endorphins going, right? There are physiological reasons, and I'm not a scientist or in that way, but it makes me feel good. My blood's running. It clears my head. It gives me the opportunity to lose a couple of pounds. And I'm sure there are other reasons for this, but I feel good. I think especially from an emotional perspective, right? If people are trying to balance their emotions, it's said that motion has a direct impact on your emotions. So because I have a huge weight of responsibility in my business, in my family, everybody has obligations that they have to meet. And because I want that level of balance in my life, I think that having an exercise regime helps me to do that.
So we're talking to people out there now who weren't prepared for this, who probably haven't got some of these routines, who just woke up one day and the government said, right, we're going to isolate. So now they're at home on their own. They haven't got systems in place. They haven't got friends inside, other family members in the house. They're on their own. And after a week on your own, you can start climbing the wall. Now, imagine if you haven't got a garden. Imagine if you haven't got a garden to go outside. Imagine if you can't go to the park and you're in your accommodation is small and you've got kids in the house. Can you imagine what you're going through at that point in time? Yes. How does something like that start to navigate this?
So a couple of things, right? And I believe that you just have to start where you are. So work with the space that you have. I've started to do a series, Alex, with a couple of my colleagues, and she's doing chair exercises. She's a fitness trainer, and she's teaching people how to do chair exercises. So truth be told, this isn't about, I haven't got a garden, I haven't got this, and I haven't got that. Work with what you do have. And most people have a chair in their home or something that they can sit on. Even if they don't have a chair, surely there must be something you can sit on, even if it's on the edge of the bed. And there are exercises that you can do. There are stretches. There are things that you can do to build your muscle capacity. There are things that you can do to build your strength, your physical strength. When I had an ankle injury, it wasn't so much about me going out for a jog or going out in the garden. My trainer gave me exercises that I had to do standing on the spot. And I didn't even realize that, oh my gosh, standing on the spot, the amount of things that I could do to strengthen my ankle. I've heard of people, I mean, I don't personally do this myself, but there are things that you can do in terms of using your own body weight to help build your strength. Get a couple of cans of beans or a couple of cans of tuna and use them as weight. Find whatever you have in your space. I think we've got to minimize looking at the things that we don't have. I don't have a garden, I don't have weights, I don't have a gym in my home. But there are things that you can do to help yourself.
Wow, that's amazing. That is amazing. The things we can do to help ourselves, the things that we control ourselves. Those are the things that let me just show you something which I was looking at today. On my board, I've got this things that we can't control, things that we can control. And this is so important for us to understand this, that the things that we can't control, which is outside of us, we must not worry about them. Don't give them space in our heads. The things that we can't control, the things that we can control, and the things that pass through our minds, which is so important. What we feed our mind is so important. And I like the point we talked today about writing in the journal, recording your thoughts, because by recording your thoughts, by controlling what's passing through your head, it's not getting to you. Am I right? Absolutely.
You're able to better manage what's going on in your mind. If you're able to better manage what's going in your mind, you're better able to manage what you actually do. You're better able to manage your habits.
Right. And also, I was reading earlier this week about with resilience, you've got to see things as a challenge. It's not a problem, it's a challenge. We're facing massive challenges now. The things with challenges, we can overcome them.
Absolutely.
But if we focus on if we focus on just being a problem, then the problem never goes away.
Absolutely. And that's it. It's about the way how you position your mind. So when I go back to thinking about my health challenge towards the latter part of last year, that's it. That's how I viewed it. I viewed this as a challenge. I might have to realign some of the timelines that I had for some key goals that I wanted to achieve. I might have to realign some of the things in my business that I wanted to achieve, but I saw them as a challenge. And if you see it as a challenge, then it becomes a task that I need to work harder at overcoming.
You mentioned something earlier. You talked about that. You really like prayer.
Yes.
Prayer helps a lot. And when I was growing up as a kid, I used to always wonder why my mother prayed so much. Every time I saw my mom, she was on her knees praying, lifting her hands up and praying. And I used to think, why the hell is this woman praying so much? And when I used to ask her, Mom, why are you praying so much? And she said, one day you'll see. One day you see. And it wasn't until later life I realized what was happening. Every time that she faced situations that she couldn't take control of, she couldn't deal with herself, she went and she prayed. And she released it. She released that energy from herself to a higher power that can deal with it. Now, that is so important right now. Now, even if we don't believe in prayer or if we're not religious, but somehow to release the energies that we've now got stored up in us is so important. I never understood it as a kid. Never understood it as a kid.
Absolutely, Alex. I find that when people, right, for any of the significant challenges that we face in life, the way how we navigate our way out is not by looking at ourselves, right? We were part of the challenge in the first place. So in order to navigate your way out, I find it gives me balance. It gives me a sense of peace, a sense of calm, a sense of spiritual guidance. So prayer is paramount in my life. Now, when you speak about your mum and the posture of prayer, I don't necessarily think that's not the key for me. So I'm not necessarily, on my knees. I can pray whilst I'm walking. I can pray whilst I'm, moving around.
Conversation.
I'm asking, God, I'm having a conversation with God, so it doesn't have to be, a certain posture, but it's about how I feel and how I choose to communicate with God. And I find that it gives me, it helps boost my faith, especially. I know we are in this unprecedented time, but I'm looking at, before we arrived at COVID-19, I had a major cancer diagnosis to deal with. I had to process all of this heavy information that the doctors have given me and have a conversation about doctors. Am I going to do chemotherapy? Am I not going to do chemotherapy? What are the treatment plans that they are recommending for me? And I found that, I remember when I had the diagnosis, the first place that I wanted to go was just to the chapel. Just get me to the chapel. I need to find my head because I've got all this stuff going around and I don't know if I even have a next year, right? It's the first time I've heard this information. And so in order to bring myself back into balance and to get my equilibrium back, I had to find a chapel, ground myself. Come on, Claudine, get yourself together. You know what life is about. Pull yourself together, get your balance back. And then I could continue to make progress. I couldn't even leave the hospital without going to the chapel. That's how important prayer is to me, because it gave me back that balance that I need to say, okay, you're not the first one this has happened to. Get yourself together and let's go.
Wow. You talked about boosting your faith. Yeah. I mean, and before disasters or before anything, that happened to us, faith in our daily activities, faith in our business, that's easy to deal with because you're in it. Yeah. And you're making it happen. Now we're facing something that's much bigger than us. Fear is in the hearts and minds of people. How do you boost your faith in a time like this?
Whoa. Alex, so part of my morning routine has everything to do with putting things inside my head that will navigate my thinking capacity.
Right.
So I read motivational books or signs. I read scriptures that kind of boost or build my faith, that minimize the fear that we are around. So if you're able to practically minimize the things that cause fear, so things like minimizing the amount of media, social media or the national press that we consume on a daily basis, minimizing the things that cause fear so that you can build your faith, so that you can build the strength of your muscle. I find that when I take in things that help build me up, then I'm able to better deal with those things that I have no control over. So I didn't have control. We don't have control at the moment over COVID. I didn't have control.
Pause right there, because that point is so important. When you take in things that build you up, some people don't understand that. What it is to build up the inner man, the inner person. When you're taking things that build you up, when you're taking things that helps you restore your confidence in you, that helps your faith.
Yes. So you could almost liken it to, some people take supplements to build their strength. They take protein shakes, or you might, for the best analogy that I can think of is when you go to the gym, right? When I started going to the gym and working out with my trainer, the very first weight that I had to pick up was 35 kilos. I remember going to the weight and I couldn't even pick it up, Alex, off of the floor. I couldn't even pick it up.
Wow.
And he began to tell me how to change my posture, how to stand, even what to think.
Wow.
And I stepped away and stepped back to the weight. And the thing that I thought I couldn't do 5 seconds ago, because I adjusted the posture of my mind and my body, it became easier for me to do. That was in the space of less than 30 seconds. 30 seconds ago, I told him I can't do this, but 30 seconds later, I could. And I think when you speak about building up your faith and building up your inner person, it's the same thing. It's about finding those things that you're putting into yourself. What are you reading? What are you listening to? Who are you listening to? Because you could be listening to crazy things. are mental right now. But what voice is giving you strength? What voice is giving you mental strength, emotional strength, psychological strength to allow you to be the person that you need to be, to give you that thing that you need to face tomorrow? So even though things might look like they're going crazy, I still have a sense of calm. I still have a sense of peace, because I believe that my strength, I'm not leaning on my own strength. I'm leaning on a strength that is greater, bigger, wiser, more infinite than my own.
Wow. Now let's see, we've got some comments coming up in the comments box, and let me just have a look to see who's saying hi to us today. Right, we've got Michael Earl saying hello, people. We've got Michael Earl again saying, lovely to see you both. Sorry I can't stay live. I'm working from home at the moment. Who we got? We've got really good Andrew Amuwat talking to us there. Andrew again saying, wow, this is fantastic. This is fantastic. This is amazing. It's amazing when you can connect with people across the world and share your thoughts and encourage each other and help build one another up, help build the mind, because at the end of the day, that's the key that we need to survive.
Absolutely.
A really sound mind to help us make decisions, to help us look after the society in which we have, to help bring through the people who are here, who are still here with us, and also help the others who've lost. I mean, my heart was rended when I saw the news of nurses, doctors who'd given so much, and they started passing because of what we're going through. And you think, my God, this is so bad. How do you help those families? How do you help them come to terms with it? But again, you can only do so much.
Do you know, Alex, I think you're asking a question that I think lots of people are asking. How do we help? How do we support? We have never had to experience this before. How can you help someone who is the helper, and then the helper becomes infected by the thing that they are trying to help other people? And I think part of the process that we've got to try to navigate is to share what we are feeling and be very real with the emotions that we are facing. I found on a normal level, when we were experiencing grief, when my father passed away, it helped to talk. It helped to connect with people because we were sharing similar emotions. I think when we get through the other side of COVID, there is going to be so much rebuilding of people's emotions, of the missing gaps, not only from a business perspective, but also from a personal perspective. We have lost family members and we're not able to grieve in the way that we normally would. There are so many gaps that need to be filled, and there are so many answers that nobody has. And I think the collaboration, the collective intelligence of all of us is what's going to bring us through. And that's why I speak so much about relying heavily on our teams, because it's our teams that will help bring us through, as opposed to, right, that's it, I'm by myself, I'm going to do this by myself. Well, actually, not only our small community, but you could see community as your home, as your extended family, as a wider community in terms of where you live, as a wider community in terms of our country, as a wider community in terms of the international community. I think there has to be some collaboration and some collective intelligence to help us all navigate what we are feeling and what the end is going to look like.
Now, this is it's difficult to paint that picture of what the end is going to look like, as you said, but it's also accepting that this is not our fault.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
Understanding that what's happening around us is not our fault. Don't take it on. It's not our fault. It's happened, and from there we've got to say, okay, it's happened, and this is how I'm going to deal with it. This is how I'm going to share it. I'm going to talk to someone. I'm going to call somebody. I'm going to ring someone and have a conversation on the phone. I'm going to share on WhatsApp. I'm just going to reach out somewhere for someone just to talk to.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's important, especially for those people. Look, everyone's on lockdown, right? And talking is good. So being able to reach out and having safe people that you can talk to, who build you up, who give you one of the things that I found, not only because of COVID, but just navigating life in general. If you're always able to focus on your purpose, focus on the bigger goal rather than the immediate situation. I find that very helpful in pulling you through and helping to navigate. It doesn't mean we dismiss where we are, but focusing on where we are, not focusing on where we are, focusing more on where we want to be.
Hey,
So
you're talking my language now. You're talking my language. My book, what is your dream? What is your dream, man? What is your dream, man? Oh, man. That's a message I've been speaking for years. What is your dream? What is your dream? What is your dream? And now there's a reassessment that needs to happen now of where am I going with my life? Because, you know, we're not here forever.
Like, absolutely. I think that when we're able to have those conversations with ourselves and with others, it gives you that boost. So you were talking about how do you build yourself up, but it's about the conversations that you have. It's about who you're speaking to and making sure that those conversations are edifying, they're beneficial, they're giving you ideas. You know, my favorite author says, out of many good ideas is how you get great ideas. How do you get people to help polish up those things that are processing in your mind so that at the end of it, you can say, look, I was on lockdown for as much as we did enjoy or didn't enjoy it, but this is what I've got to show for it. I want to become a bigger, better person.
Wow. Let me read something that I saw this week from C.S. Lewis. This was something that was written 1948 to do with the atomic bomb. Let me just read this. And this quote this was shared from Rachel Hollis and David Hollis, and one of my fans, Russell Brunson. Yeah.
Okay.
In one way, we think a great deal too much of the atomic bomb. How are we to live in an atomic age? I'm tempted to reply, why? As you would have lived in the 16th century when the plague visited London almost every year, or as you would have lived in a Viking age when raiders from Scandinavia might land and cut your throat at any time, any night. Or indeed, as you are already living in an age of cancer, an age of syphilis, an age of paralysis, an age of air raids, an age of railway accidents, and an age of motor accidents. In other words, do not let us begin by exaggerating the novelty of our situation. Believe me, dear sir or madam, you and all whom you love were already sentenced to death before the atomic bomb was invented, and quite a high percentage of us were going to die in unpleasant ways. We had indeed one very great advantage over our ancestors, anesthetics, but we have that still. It is perfectly ridiculous to go about whimpering and drawing long faces because the scientists have added one or more chance of painful and premature death to a world which already bristles with such chances, and in which death itself was not a chance at all, but a certainty. This is the first point to be made, and the first action to be taken is to pull ourselves together. If we're all going to be destroyed by an atomic bomb, let that bomb, when it comes, find us doing sensible and human things, praying, working, teaching, reading, listening to music, bathing the children, playing tennis, chatting to our friends over a pipe, a game of darts, not huddled together like frightened sheep and thinking about bombs. They may break our bodies, but they need not dominate our minds. Oh, man, that was, when I read that, man, oh my God, that was 1948 talking about the atomic bomb of what we faced. Huh? Something that was going to wipe us out.
Do you know, it speaks of purpose, right? And so I made up my mind, right? Whatever happens, it's going to happen, but I'm still going to be full of purpose.
Yes.
There are some things that I can't control. I couldn't control around my health. It appears that, you know, we're not, but whatever happens, I'm going to be full of purpose. If I've got to go, I'm going to go doing something meaningful and purposeful with my life. And it won't be as C.S. Lewis has described so eloquently.
Amazing. So let me now go to a word from our sponsor. Give you a couple of seconds to get yourself a glass of water. Now let's just play this.
You are listening to the Message Talk Show and Podcast. Do you believe you have something to share? Do you believe you have something to contribute? Do you have a story to tell the world, to share with your community? Gandhi said, man often becomes what he believes himself to be. If you think you can, you can. If you think you can't, you can't. So join us on the Message Talk Show and Podcast with host Alex Gordon.
So if you believe you've got something to share, if you believe, hey, Claudine, I no doubt you have something to share. You haven't stopped. You talked about, hey, Alex, oh man, I might not have a lot to say. My God, man, you were just thinking, man. You were ready. There's so much in you. Are you going to do a book out of this? Are you going to do a book? Are you going to write a book?
Actually, I'm working on it. So
wow.
In part of my routine, I've scheduled in, I've tried to make sure I stick to a minimum of an hour a day. I'm writing, Alex, about stress and burnout. It's in terms of in the workplace, stress and burnout in the workplace. I think it's going to be even more paramount after this period of time, but it was also paramount before COVID.
Yes, before,
I think what COVID is causing us to do is reassess priorities, reassess the meaning of some of the things that we do. And I'm an employer, right? I have a fabulous team of staff who, some of them are frontline. They are out in the field now, making sure that some of our relatives are safe and well and have their care that's required. So I'm writing about stress and burnout and how we manage stress and burnout so it minimizes the adverse effects that it has on our daily lives. Wow. So it's coming soon. I haven't got a date just yet.
We can expect it soon. All right. So once the book is done, I'll be the first to interview you for that book. Yes. Yeah.
Before the end of the year, it will be ready.
Brilliant. Now, one of the things you talked a lot about today, and you stressed it more than once, you talked about your personal goals. And I want you just to reiterate that to the audience from all over the world, all over Facebook, all over LinkedIn, how important it is to sit down and write those personal goals and get them out of your head.
Whoa. Goal setting is a little bit like a ritual, like a bit of a routine for me. I think goals help you stay focused. Goals help you navigate priorities. Goals help you to manage your time. Goals help you to evolve into a bigger, better version of yourself. Goals help you to assess what's important and what's not important. I think goals help you to minimize fear and focus on faith in terms of where you're going and your future. Goals are an essential part of my life, and I've seen how on a personal level, on a business level, on a financial level, on a fitness level, on a financial level, goals are important because they help you stay focused on the thing that's in front of you. I find that goals have caused me to grow into a better version of myself, because I'm always striving for more. Now, when you're striving for more, people have said, why can't you just be satisfied?
I was going to say that people, you get criticized sometimes for striving for more and pushing yourself.
Yeah. So here's what I've learned. If I believe in an infinite God, then why should I be satisfied with a tiny amount of stuff, right? I think I have the capacity for more, and I'm intentionally increasing my capacity for more, because there's more in me. There's more to have. That would almost be same as, for any parents who might be listening to this broadcast, when your child when your child is crawling, you don't ever say to them, all right, son, you can crawl for the rest of your life. You say to them, okay, get up. They could easily say to you, look, mom, dad, give me a break. I'm 11 months old. Why are you forcing me to walk? Because there's more in me. There's more in you. And even if they fall over in the process of learning to walk, you never say to them, all right, son, it's okay. You tried, fallen over, stay there. You help them to get up, and you teach them until they've got it. And I think that's the same about goals. Your goals tell you that you have more inside you. Your goals tell you that there is more inside you to achieve. And this is not about comparison. It's not about comparing yourself with anyone. It's about being a better version of yourself. And so for me, Alex, goals are an essential part of my life. Every year in December, I review my previous 11 months, and then I section my life, if you like, into 4 categories: fitness, faith, family, and finance. Fitness, faith, family, and finance. And I give myself key goals in those respective areas so that it helps me stay focused, it helps me stay balanced. And I think life is encompassed around, for me, around those 4 key areas. And so it helps me to stay balanced and navigate life in the way that I choose to.
One of the points you made today, and it just connecting with what you were saying about this, so we have so much more inside of us. The potential is unlimited, but we limit ourselves.
Yeah.
But sometimes we are so frightened in taking the risk or taking the chance. And you said earlier today that when you went to lift the weights and you couldn't move the weights at all, and just by someone instructing you on what to do, change your posture, change what you were thinking, change everything in your mind about who you are and what you are able to do, and within seconds you were able to lift that weight.
Yeah.
You were the same person.
Absolutely. The thing that changed was my thinking process. But the other thing I don't, that we can't negate is the importance of having the right people speaking to you. Right. Because I could have walked off and said, no, I can't do this. I'm never going to try again. But because I had a trainer who was experienced, he knows what he's doing. This is his life, right? He's spent all his life coaching people how to lift weights. So to have the right people speaking into your fears, speaking into your areas of challenge is essential for progress. I think about that all of the time. I have a video clip of myself in the studio at the time, and I can hear him saying to me, Claudine, lift your head, straighten your back, bend your knees, lean forward. And any time I think to myself, it's too big, I've taken on a bit too much, I find somebody who's doing it already. And if they can do it, if I can learn their systems, their structures, their strategies, and apply it to my context, then I become a better version of me. I'm not trying to be like anybody else. I'm not trying to be like you, Alex, but there are good things that I can learn from you. There are good systems and processes and structures that you have that I can adopt and to my own context so that I become a better version of me.
Amazing. Claudia, this is amazing. This is amazing talking to you today, man. We could just talk all day, man, because you are just in the flow, man. You've got so much content, so much information just flowing out of you. And, helping us to build resilience in our minds, build resilience in our lives, helping us to be there for each other. This is amazing. Now, I want you to think of what's your favorite book? What's your favorite book? I meant to ask you that. What's your favorite book?
Look, you can see my bookshelf behind me, right? There's another one a bit further down there, right? My favorite book of all times, in my opinion, Napoleon Hill, Outwitting the Devil. Number one book of all times, in my opinion, Outwitting the Devil by Napoleon Hill.
Why is that?
Because as I started to read the book, I could see all of the things that we deal with in life, right? I could see me, I could see God, and I could see the devil. Wow. And the book explains, it's Napoleon Hill's conversation, if you like, with his fear and his faith.
Yeah, opposing forces,
And in the conversation, his fear, which represents the devil, is speaking to him and telling him why he has so much control. But yet his faith is also speaking to him and telling him how to minimize the fear. And through reading that book, I found out so much about myself. I found out what my drivers are. I found out how I can better navigate life. I found out how to minimize my fears. I found out how to grow my faith, and it's just been a staple book for me. I should actually get shares and get them to give me.
No, it's so important. Faith and fear, dealing with the conflict, the inner war that's going on in our minds all the time, the inner conversations that we're having or not having. That's powerful. That's really powerful. So we're going to close the show now, and I want you to think of a word or a sentence that you want to leave with the community out there to encourage them and to help them move through these times. Before we do that, I'm going to quickly just go to another advert. So let me just share this. So guys, I want to just tell you about how you could come on the Message Talk Show. So we have on the Message Talk Show our Facebook page, right? There we are, the Message Talk Show and podcast. And if you just search Facebook for that, the Message Talk Show and Podcast, and you want to come on the show, you want to share your word, you want to share something, but you've got to be passionate about what you do. You've got to be passionate. You've seen Claudine. She's passionate about what she does, man. She wouldn't get a word in. She just wanted to tell you and share, and she's passionate about what she does. So if you want to come on the show, just go find that and book yourself in, and we'll have a conversation about how we can do some work together. Now, the sponsor again is no other than Master Your Message with Alex Gordon. To explain.
You are listening to the Message Talk Show and Podcast. Do you believe you have something to share? Do you believe you have something to contribute? Do you have a story to tell the world, to share with your community? Gandhi said, man often becomes what he believes himself to be. If you think you can, you can. If you think you can't, you can't. So join us on the Message Talk Show and Podcast with host Alex Gordon.
So Claudine, what are you saying to the world, to your community, to everyone around? What are you saying? What's your last sentence, your last word that you're going to give for this show?
So regardless of, my message to the community, Alex, is regardless of where you find yourself. So we could be talking about health challenges, business challenges. We're talking about this global pandemic. I think it's important that you intentionally increase your capacity for more. When you intentionally increase your capacity for more, you will evolve. When you evolve, you will become a bigger, better, wiser, faster version of yourself. When you become all of those things for yourself, your level or your ability to conquer any challenge that stands in front of you, the muscles of your mind would have grown. The muscles of your emotion would have grown. The muscles of your faith would have grown. You'll be able to conquer anything.
Phenomenal. I'm going to write this quote down that you've just given, and I'm going to repeat it everywhere I go. It says, Claudine Reid says, after the third time, I say Alex says. Is that okay?
That's fine.
We get some final comments here, see what guys are saying here. Okay, Andrew Miller, wow, that is fantastic. Again, that's right. Again, and this is Jackie Brown, so true. It's amazing what technology can do for us. We're locked up in our homes, but yet we're still connecting around the world. Now, the last thing I want to do is just tell people where they can get this for free. Now, one of the things I did was I wrote a book many moons ago, but I find the topic so important to be talking about it all the time that after 5 years, I'm still talking about what is your dream? What is your dream? Do you need more than just a job now? Discover your own path and release the potential within you. So for the life that you want to live, what if your dream has the ability to change someone's life? And I believe what Claudine shared with us today has the ability to change someone's life on air today. These words that she shared has certainly changed our thinking, changed the way we look at things. So you can get a copy of What is Your Dream as an ebook for free. There's no charge. For the next 2 weeks, I'm pushing this out for free. Just click on the button and get a free copy of this book. Now, let me just come out of here. So, thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you so much, Claudine, for participating. It's been a joy talking to you and having that conversation. And I'm looking to see you at O2, in the next 24 months. I'm looking to see you standing up at O2, encouraging and empowering the rest of the world with what you have inside of you. Is that okay?
That's absolutely fine.
Yeah, I'm going to be joining you on stage, all right?
Thanks, Alex. It's been a pleasure.
Guys, I want to thank you for tuning into the Message Talk Show. I want you to replay. You can go to Spotify for the replay. You can also come to the Message Talk Show Facebook page for the replay, or Master Your Message with Alex Gordon for the replay, or even anchor.fm for the replay. Share it with your friends, share it with yourself, go over the content, and come back and tell us how it's impacting your life. I just want to thank you for being with us today, and have an awesome day, because your dream matters and your message matters.